Good evening, good evening, everybody. This is Elba Colón coming to you from my office in Columbus, Ohio. If you hear the music behind me, it's because today is day 7 of the 21-day gratitude challenge, and today's special guest is Giada Valenti. And so, who you hear in the background is her singing her song, and we're going to bring her on board to share her story of what gratitude means from her. She's watching, so let's get her on board. Got her approved. She's coming on board, everyone. She's coming on board.
That's what she said to me.
Giada!
Hello, can you hear me?
Can you hear your music?
Yes, I can hear my music and I can see you. Can you hear me?
A little bit. Let me get my headphones. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, maybe if I should turn off the music, I can hear you better.
Maybe that would help. Because you said to put the phone on mute, right?
Right, you're right. On your phone, mute. And let me see. I was using a different phone.
Yeah.
And it wasn't working. So I went back to this phone, and it's like, oh, okay. Let's see. Yeah.
Everybody's saying, Jeff is saying, can you hear me?
Oh, now I can hear you. Wonderful.
Perfect. And I can hear you also. So
wonderful.
How are you? It's nice for you there in Ohio. It's still daylight for us.
It's cold, but it was actually a beautiful day. It was sunny. It was great.
It was your birthday.
It was my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. My heart is like full of gratitude. Someone called me today about 12 o'clock. Well, no, I called somebody at 1 o'clock, and it was for business. Oh. And when I got on the phone, I was crying, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be crying, but my heart is so full. So
that's a good thing.
Yes. So I know that this is personal, but I'm going to get to business now because people are coming on board. I got 14 people watching. There's all kinds of heart flying everywhere. So let's get this started because I know what people want to know is here is this majestic beauty, Giada Valenti, ¿verdad? Giada, right? Valenti, a singer, songwriter, performer from Venice, Italy, who has over 1,000 shows, PBS special shows, singing her songs. And what's so beautiful about the ballads she sings is they're songs that are real popular in North America. For example, the Bee Gees with Emotions, Love Story, Sway by Marianne Clooney. And I was watching your music, and the music just flow. It's romantic, but it's soothing to the soul. And although they're very popular in America, like the song If by Bread, it just brings vulnerability over the heart. And you just want to cry because it's so beautiful. I know it does for me. So
you studied the whole repertoire. You must have seen all my YouTube video, right, Elba?
Oh, but you know, those are music. The music you sang are music I grew up with. So I was familiar already with the words. I was already familiar with the music, but to hear it to come from you, it was totally different. So, I'm going to let everybody hear. So, Giada, I know I introduced you a little bit, but go ahead, introduce yourself, and we're going to jump right into gratitude. Because the whole point of doing this 21-day gratitude challenge is that not enough people are talking about gratitude.
True.
And what we're here to do is bring awareness and value to gratitude for what it deserves and the respect that gratitude deserves. So I am very grateful to have you here on board tonight. So go
I'm
ahead,
very
take over.
grateful that you invited me. Actually, we should tell I'm very grateful to you, and we are also grateful to Eddie Luisi, because that's how I discovered you. I saw him participating to this challenge that you were doing of about gratitude. So I think 2 days ago we started to chat, me and you together, and you invited me to share my story, because I think I sent you the link about the story why I recorded my latest songs, the Gracias a la Vida, thank you to life. And I was, nothing happened for by coincidence. I think that there are way in life that we get connected with one another, and I really liked you instantly, and I was honored to be able to be part of this 21 days that you're doing, because I'm very grateful for everything I had in my life, the good day, the good moment, the bad moments, the ups and the downs, because as I say, you need the dark to be able to see the light. So you need some tragedy in your life, because then you realize how lucky you were before that things happen. Because that's the thing that you said, the importance of gratitude. We, in this world, it looks like we are all looking for something more than, which is a good thing. We should all have big dreams. I'm the first one. I'm a dreamer. I have amazing big dreams. But I think we should not forget to see what we already have. So enjoy the moment and all the things we have, and try to work hard to achieve the rest. So when you invite me to be part of this Elba, I was very, very honored. And because I think it's a beautiful thing that you're doing, trying to have everybody. And you know what? We all share on Facebook the greatest moment of our life, at least I do. But there is so much more than, because I don't think nobody wants to hear about sadness or problems of things we disagree. I think we should keep positive and spread around positive things. So positive go around and we come even more of that. But we all have in our lives very challenges things, but nevertheless, even if we all have problems and things to go and fight every day for, we have our life, we have each other. For me, you know, the most important things I have is my health. It's
Yes.
the fact that I'm able to do everything every day is because I have my health. And I never realized until 5 years ago that to have health and to have family and friends and support from people around us was that important. When I almost lost my life due to some problems I had with my health, it was at that moment, the darkest moment of my life, probably, because I've had a happy life starting from my childhood. In that moment, when suddenly I had a problem with my life. I mean, I was in a hospital for a month, major surgery, special treatment, blah, blah, blah. It was in that dark moment that I realized that, my gosh, I have so much to fight for. All the people that were supporting me, my parents, my husband, my fans were sending me from all over the world presents and letters. I mean, I was just like, what am I complaining for? I may be sick, but look how much I have, as much. And it's been that love and the positive thoughts that suddenly came to me, the realizing that I was a blessed person, because I had that gave me so much strength. And I remember I was just discussing yesterday, because of this interview with a friend of mine, that that period wasn't, after all, the worst of my life, because he had
Oh,
changed me. No, it wasn't, because actually it made me realize that it changed my life. It made me a better person. And I remember in the hospital, I was cheering everybody else, because suddenly I was happy. I was like, okay, I may be sick. I don't know what I have, because it took them like 2 weeks to understand what was wrong with me. But still, I was going around the hospital cheering everybody with my things, with all my cables I was attached to. But because I said, hey, listen, we 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 have each other. And you know what? I realized when I was in the hospital, because we give it for granted to have family, to have support, even to have an husband, to have friends, whatever. We give it for granted. When I was in the hospital, I had my husband come in every morning and spend the whole day with me. My parents calling me 3 times a day on FaceTime from Venice, Italy, to keep me company. People calling and coming and visiting. And then and I was sick. And then I saw next to me people that had nobody. They were going there to visit them. And I was just like, and they looked like they were less sick than me. They looked like
Yeah.
they were even having better lives than I have, whatever. But they did not have people going there and supporting them and loving them. So I started to do it for them. I started to become friends with everybody in the hospital. And I realized, man, I am blessed because I have people that loves me. And then later when I got my health back, man, nothing would ever stop me, Elba. Every day I wake up in the morning, and the fact that I have my health back, I tell to myself, no matter how tough it's going to be this day, I am here. I don't have pain. I don't have medical issues. There's no excuses for me not to go and do whatever I want to do. And it's a great opportunity you gave me to me, because I don't share much this story. I don't know why, because you don't want to have the pity of the people. But when people ask me, I'm always
Right.
very great. I always want to tell my story. So I thank you for that. And you know what? They told me my shows changed, which probably is true.
Yeah.
I always been a loving person. I'm always been a person, a positive people, a person that loved everybody. But when that things happened to me, I realized that life is even more important. So I do my show, I think, with even more heart in everything I do.
Mm.
And I care more for other people's story. I also dig into your life, because you also had a lot of information there, and I saw that you also went through a lot of things in your life, and you overcome everything, and now you do this for other. And I think when you are something happened to you, you became grateful, and you start to do more things for others. Suddenly we see other people, and we
Right.
see their struggle, and we try to give them our support, which sometimes a lot of people they don't do. If even though I don't think anybody has a perfect life. I mean,
Mm.
on paper, on paper, we may all look, they say since Facebook is existing, a lot of people suffers of depressions because they,
What do they? I'm sorry, you was breaking up. It's
oh, sorry. They said that Facebook, since the social media are existing, a lot of people are suffering of depressions because they see
wow.
all this happiness around the social media, because we all share, I'm going
Right.
to Las Vegas, I'm doing, and they think
Right.
they are the only one struggling. And
Right.
but I would say, so I think sometimes it's nice to have things like this one, that we talk honestly about the truth of everything we're going through. So you're doing a good
It's
job,
true.
Alba.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you. I mean, I know you see me looking down here, but the reason you see me looking down is I'm writing notes
Right.
as you're, and what I hear you say is that the illness that you went through 5 years ago, although it was dark, the darkest hour, though it was the darkest hour physically, tangibly around your environment in your body, but spiritually, it
Yeah,
really wasn't the darkest hour. It was actually the brightest time,
it was.
because during that time, there's a couple of things I hear you say that was created through this illness. It created to be authentic in your shows. It
Yeah.
created new, fresh energy. I
Yes.
hear you say you connect with the audience. You
Yes.
connect with your heart. I also hear
Mhm.
you say that it created empathy with others.
It
You know,
should.
it create, and then another thing, it also, I never thought about this until I started interviewing people every day, and I hear it more with you, is that it created a sense of urgency,
Yes.
a sense of urgency. So there's a lot of things that came out of this
Oh,
illness 5 years ago. And so I'm going to say them one more time because there's more people coming on board.
yeah, I
But it
see that.
created a sense of energy,
Yeah.
urgency, empathy, being authentic, and it create compassion and
Yeah.
connection with your music, your
Yeah.
audience, your fans, your
Yeah.
family, with everyday people, even with your own self.
Yes. And as you said, I was maybe in the darkest time of my life because you should know, basically I had insulinomas on my pancreas, which are benign tumors that lower your sugar. So I was for probably 2 years struggling and fainting on a daily basis without even knowing how life threatening was such a illness. And those tumors are difficult to find. So when finally I couldn't have a normal life anymore, I was not sleeping more than 2 hours, because every 2 hours I needed to eat something, or I was basically going into a coma, and I was not able to wake up. So certain point my doctor said, the doctor in Italy, he said, you have to go to an hospital. This is not a joke. So it was very, very tough. And it took the doctor 2 weeks to discover what it was, because these tumors are very difficult to find, to be seen. They have the same structure of an organ. So even though they did all my medical tests, and then they started to put me all under the machine, they couldn't find nothing. So they knew I was sick. They knew there was something wrong, but they couldn't find what it was. And in the meantime, you should know, they were keeping me alive. They put like an IV on my neck, and they were constantly 24/7 giving me sugar. So in that 2 weeks, I had swollen for the sugar. I was like an happy, chubby woman. And
Wow.
so they didn't know. So I was actually never scared for my life. I
Right.
was just, because suddenly I was there. I didn't know what I had. Somehow in my heart, I felt was not my moment to go. Believe it or not, I knew it was
Mhm.
not my time to go. And suddenly, in all these darkest hours, I was starting to see the beauty of things I've never noticed, of things
Wow.
I've never noticed. I started to care about, next to me, they put this young girl, who's even younger than me, and she was very, very ill. And the parents could not come and visit her every day. I started to take care of her. In my
Mm.
illness, I started to take care of her. We became great friends, and that, like you said, I had the urgency to be important, to feel that was not my time to go, and I still had so much to go. So I was doing things. I was helping other. I was cheering up everybody. I was, and suddenly there, I was seeing how much I loved my husband. He was always there for me, and he's always been there for me. But I never cared before, because I get it. I mean, of course, he married me, so he's every day there for
Right.
me. But then when I needed, was there. My parents, they always loved me my whole life. But then suddenly they were there every day, sharing their worries, their things. And so, actually, as I said before, as funny, as strange it may sound, it was in that moment that I started to see how much great things there were all around me. And the doctors. I never cared for doctors and nurses because I'd
Mhm.
never been sick. And when I
Right.
was in the hospital, I realized, man, inside the hospital, there is like talking about being grateful for other people. I mean, what people do in the hospital, starting from the nurses. The nurses, I
Mhm.
think they are like angel for patients in the
Yeah.
hospital. They were there taking care of everybody, trying to cheer up everybody. Of course, they make mistake. You hear all the time, they are not polite. But do you know how tough it is to day to be there, trying to help these people there? I started to feel so much respect for so many things that really, Alba, I never really cared before for. But so I think anything that happened in our lives, it enriched us in way that we would have never imagined. To me, to this day, somebody complain about anything can be, I know many people complain. I mean, I can make a list of 30,000 things to complain about, and that I don't have enough of this or that or the other. But every time because of that, I start to put it in perspective. Is that as important as to have, okay, I don't have enough money, I don't have the car of my dream, I don't have the house of my dream, but is that so important? When then
Mhm.
I saw with my own eyes people, or myself at the time, that they are struggling right now as we are talking with things that are so important, like health.
Yeah.
Health. And how many people are there to help them? People that we don't. I mean, I lived in New York for 10 years. And I remember seeing very tired nurses coming inside the train. I never stood up for them. Nobody does. And then I was thinking, man, I remember when I was sick at night, and those young nurses, they spend the whole night staying awake for me. So in the morning, when I go home at 6 o'clock in the morning, I go and sleep. They have to still go home. And so now when I see a nurse somehow, I thank them, even if she wasn't my nurse. And, you know, I think we should be grateful one to another, because we are all helping one. She may not help you, that nurse, but she is helping somebody else. So I think we should all be more. What the experience made me, I became more nice, and I trying to understand even the not friendly people, not nice people, the jealous
Mm-hmm.
people, bad people, to understand why they are like that. I think it's because they didn't have a dark moment in their life. Because if you have difficult,
Oh.
you will
Mm-hmm.
understand that that there's no reason to be jealous, to be bad to the other, because we are, I think fundamentally we're all.
Giada, there's a pause. So, gang, just thank you for watching. This is day 7 of 21 Day Gratitude Challenge. Giada's screen is frozen here. I'm sure she was going to. Just to go back to what she was saying, she was saying a lot of good stuff here. So we got disconnected here, so we're gonna get her back on board. So just one moment while I get her back on board. One moment. Let me look for her here. Okay, let's see here. Let's see. Okay, let's get you back on board, Giada. Let's get you back. Let's see how we can do this. One moment, Giada. I'm going to get you back. Let's see. Clear request. Let's see here. One moment. We're going to have Giada come back on here. Let's see. I'm finding a way how to do this. One moment. One moment. Giada. Okay, we're just getting on her on board. Let's see. We might have to disconnect and restart again, okay? Because I can't seem to add her back on board. So, okay, this is Elba Colón for Columbus, Ohio. We got disconnected here. I'm going to disconnect the show right here for a hot second, and we're going to bring her back on board. So stay tuned. I'm going to bring you back, Giada. We're going to get you back here on board.